my watch says, minute or two of, but we'll go with the time in the town office here. So we start the Board of Selectmen's meeting with a public hearing. This is regarding a dangerous building at 124 Cary Road. The purpose of a public hearing is to share facts and information, to respond to questions or comments from the public. And if any of the public wishes to speak, just ask that you raise your hand, state your name, and the town you're from. And we like to hear one voice at a time, so that's how we'll proceed. So I'm going to, I guess, turn it over. Let's start with Bailey, and Bailey is our code enforcement officer. So it's your floor to explain the nature of the dangerous building, Bailey.
So this building was brought to my attention probably about a year ago, or more than a year ago, and I took pictures at that time. Didn't approach it as anything because I didn't know what the status of the house was. I was approached at one point by a company. I believe they were hired by the insurance company. I'm not positive on that either. I went to the site with them. They stated that there was no inhabitants there. At this point, there are 2 trees down and the garage is almost fully collapsed. The house is possibly savable, but it's at risk of collapse if the garage falls in. We have some pictures that Joe has up on the screen that you have seen previously as well.
I'm Wayne Titus. I live at 41 Road Names.
Okay.
This building is in my name.
Yes.
I do not actually consider it mine because 3 years ago, the finance company took it over, put a big padlock on the door and told me I could never go back. And they winterized it. At that time, they said you can go up and go in at one time to get your possessions up. We went up. The keys had been put in the door and broken off, so I couldn't get in with my key. I called the security company. They gave me a number to the padlock, which I did get it unlocked. When I opened the door and went in, the place had been just demolished by whoever they sent up to take and winterize it. And it was all winterized to start with. My toolbox, my heater, everything had been stolen out of it. So I called them back and tried to find out who it was, and they wouldn't tell me, so I called the police department. The police department come up and investigate.
Yeah.
The whole thing, matter of fact, the insurance company called me at one point, I guess, when this happened. I haven't been back.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. That's the closest I've been to it in 3 years.
3 years.
And the insurance company called me and I told them what was going on, and they said, oh, that's with the finance company. I never dealt with them again, but my wife claims that the insurance company paid the finance company. So I assumed that they'd taken care of it. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And there are some people up here, and I don't know, I can't remember their name, and I don't know if you can.
They live in the house next door.
They live in the house next door. They come from Connecticut and they'd like to buy the property and take it over,
We can't get anybody to
which
talk
is
to them.
fine with me. And she gave them the number to call and they wouldn't even talk to them.
Yeah.
So I really don't know where we're at. We're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And we're both on Social Security, so I don't have money to fix it up with, and I don't have money to tear it down with. So
Right.
I'm kind of caught in the middle.
Well, it's good to hear directly from you as the, as the owners. I mean, basically, really all the town can do is make the property less dangerous, which is the reason for the public hearing. We have this as an agenda item within our meeting to whether to rule this as a dangerous building or not. And then subsequently, the only action we can take is to make it safer.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, we don't take ownership of it. We don't auction it off. I mean, there are no tax liens.
Well, and that's it. I haven't paid taxes on it, so they must have.
Yeah, no, there are no tax liens on the property.
So if there's no tax liens on it, they're paying for it, so I assume it's theirs.
The first half of this year, Madam Chair, has been paid. Taxes and the right of ways.
And they've been paying the insurance company too.
Yeah, they're gonna pay the insurance company
They're
too.
not very good to work with. I have nothing but trouble with them.
And so if the building gets torn down, it's up to them, not me. Oh, that's the way I feel anyway, I would think.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but
Well, I think Joe can comment that the attempts have been made, several attempts with the mortgage company.
That's correct, Madam Chair. Bailey sent at least 2 letters in the first round, and then Kristen Collins from Freddie Fleury, they sent actual formal service to the company in Florida, and they've had difficulty getting a response.
Who's the company you sent it to? Because they've switched 4 times on me. It's now PHH Morgan.
Yep, that's the company.
that is it. Okay.
It's Wells Fargo now. Effective May 30th, 2021, it's Wells Fargo.
Really?
It
Because
is
they're
again.
foreclosing on it.
Hmm?
The PHHS is foreclosing on it.
They have an assignment on it. They took an assignment on it. But there's no showing of any name or you guys releasing the property at all that I could find when
I've tried to. They won't.
looked at.
They told me that if I signed a paper, Wayne signed it, it's in his name. But if he signed a paper, that they take it back and they do whatever they needed to do with it. When I got ready to do it, they told me, oh, we don't do this anymore.
Hmm.
That's as far as that got.
So we're all kind of caught in the middle.
Because typically what happens if your homeowner's insurance doesn't get paid, the bank will force place insurance on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If they have it and they have a building, I would think that they would have to be paying the force place insurance, but there should have, usually it's 2 years or something like that, unless there's a bankruptcy involved, on what the steps a bank can do to take ownership of the property.
so that's where we're at. We're kind of caught in the middle, all of us.
Yeah.
The town plus us, so. Yes, it's in my name,
Mhm.
and I was told not to go back, and I didn't, I just. It's not worth fighting over sometimes. But so I think it's up to them to do whatever they want.
Mhm.
Because even if we tear it down, or anybody, town, you people tear it down, I'll tear it down, which I can't afford to do anyway, but. Something's gonna go back to that mortgage company, isn't it?
Mhm.
Where. I don't know, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Joe or Bailey, I don't know if you can comment on what your thoughts are, is what steps would need to be taken to make the
Proper.
premises more safe or less dangerous? Is there a plan at all, or,
At this point, it's removing the 2 trees that have fallen and the garage.
okay,
Other than that, everything else is secure enough that it's not a danger. It's really those 2 things.
Yeah.
I would have thought that they would have done that when they got the insurance.
Mm.
I thought they took care of it, because
yeah, no, it's,
and I didn't even know they'd done anything until I went on it one day, because I can't remember why, but I went on it, on the insurance company, because I got the same insurance company for my vehicle at home. And it said a claim was made out, and it was sent to the mortgage company. I never received anything about it. They never asked us to make a claim on it.
mhm. And whether that claim paid or that payment paid the mortgage in full,
yeah, who knows?
Who know- yeah.
I can't tell you. I
yeah,
really
because
don't
it's
know.
not, yeah, or obviously. Shelley works for a bank, I work for a real estate attorney, so
So both of you,
both of, we're pretty
Yeah.
familiar with the process,
Exactly.
so,
They send me a statement every month, and the same amount is still on the statement, not a word about the insurance being paid. on it.
yeah,
all the taxes. and
All the
everything
taxes.
else.
yeah. And so, Joe, the process afterwards, so say, Bailey, we take action, we state that that's a, it's dangerous building, it's made safe. what does the town do? We lien the property for, repayment of costs?
If it gets to that point, Madam Chair, yes. Tonight, if, obviously the mortgage company isn't here, and that's one of the things that the board will have to consider in this, is that they aren't a party of interest, even though they're not being very responsive, they are a party of interest. You may consider taking action when you get into your regular meeting to approve the order. And if you do that, if you're contemplating doing that, you should at this point think about leaving this hearing open or continuing this hearing for a couple of weeks to allow the mortgage company a chance to come. Kristen, correct me if that's out of sequence, but that's the way I understand it. And that would give them time to respond to the service. With any luck, they would, sounds like they're financially responsible for this.
Well, I would think so. I mean,
So maybe they would pay for it up front and fix it.
I don't know.
But if they don't, then the town would attempt to recover those costs. And there are remedies in the law so that we can recover those costs.
Kristen, did you have anything to add?
She's not.
No, I'm here. I don't. It sounds like this might be with, the department of the mortgage holder that deals with these types of properties. And a lot of this might just be us needing to find the right person to talk to. And once you do, that's always the hard part, but once you do, it can tend to go a little bit more smoothly.
Can you tell me what was said? I couldn't hear. You lost audio.
She said something.
And them not having a problem when Kristen was talking, they couldn't hear her. And everything got screwed up.
This is Kristen. Can anybody hear me now?
Kristen, can you hear us?
She muted.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Oh, weird. Okay.
I think we lost everybody.
Yeah, I lost everybody in the room.
See if I do this.
I'll text Joe.
What's this town lane doing? Got muted.
No, there, that's that.
Yeah, he's retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristen, can you hear me?
I can you guys hear me?
Little,
Okay, I can't hear you, but if you can hear me. I'm assuming that these folks need to get their name off from this building. And how do we get to move faster than we've been moving with the mortgage company in Florida? To make this a safe building or do something to make it less unsafe, whatever.
Yeah, so as of now, I don't,
What sort of liability does the town of Rangeley incur when we take on the job of removing this tree from the garage and demolishing that garage? Those are my questions.
so the town will take on no liability by doing that. We still are protected.
Another time.
All right, can you all hear me?
So you guys said that you receive a bank statement each month. Maybe if you sent the town, maybe Tracy could give you contact information. If there's a way that you could get that statement to them, it might be easier for them to contact that bank.
Yeah, I can do that. I have the lawyer's number, I have their number out on my phone. But it's like trying to, I'd be better off to send a pigeon. There, because they just, and they've been doing stuff with us for at least a good 5 years.
You do have notes in the phone. Excuse me.
You want it?
That'd be right back.
If it helps to try to dig more into it, especially where it was just assigned to Wells Fargo in
Yeah, see,
May
I don't
of this year.
even know that. Because I haven't received anything saying Wells Fargo.
Right.
Wells Fargo was the one I bought my car, financed my car through. So they know.
Yeah.
I don't know, they're terrible to try to work with. They tell us they try to solve it. We get everything all ready. I don't know how many times I sent them the paperwork back when we were working then. We're not even working now.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, they call me up and tell me, well, they don't do this anymore, so we'd have to do another plan. 5 times I did that.
Wow.
When I talked to them, when everything was taken out of the house and they totaled the whole inside, they went as far as to take our dogs' toys, shred them up and pull all the stuffing out of them. And then when I said, well, is anybody gonna, this is $3,000 worth of stuff, you gonna do anything about that? Well, we don't know who did it, so we can't. They're the ones that sent the people in there to do it. So that's the type of place you're dealing with. It's awful.
yes, Joe.
Madam Chair, I have a message from the town's attorney. She is suggesting that Freddie try to find the right person to speak with at the mortgage company. Once we do it, it should move quickly. She suggests going ahead and approving the order and extending the hearing by 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that's her advice to the board this evening.
Should have brought your glasses up.
It's bad to see this.
Are there any other comments or questions at this time?
Do you want these 2 numbers that I got?
If you want to give those to them, that would be perfect.
Eight, 8.
Well, yeah, that's,
What was the question? How many days for the order?
8, 6.
I'm saying 10 days, period. We've been freaking around with this for a year now.
but it's,
Yeah, but
we're dealing with a
different
bank.
mortgage company.
Yeah,
Started in, the assignment was May 3rd of 2021.
Yeah.
So if they were trying to call Florida doesn't even
But if you want
have
them,
it.
38.
So a follow-up, Madam Chair.
820 6474.
That's the mortgage company itself. And they won't give you the name of the lawyer, so I can't even give you that. That is 888-947-77.
It's 866-947-7722. There's a one in front of that. But should have brought your glasses. You got your phone.
All right. Yes, Joe.
So Madam Chair, as a follow-up from Kristen to answer Selectman Philbrick's question, the town takes on no liability by removing the trees once the order is in place. She does suggest not doing anything until we know the bank has been served. And she is suggesting 2 more weeks.
Okay.
Continue this hearing until the next meeting. But approve the order when you get into your actual meeting tonight.
Okay.
So do you want to come out of the public hearing to approve the order?
It's on our agenda. The
Okay.
order's on our agenda, I think number 7.
Yep.
So Mrs. Titus, anything else? Really, thank you so much for coming. And just, it's very helpful hearing firsthand information. And we'll do everything we can to get this resolved on your behalf, our behalf. I mean, we are here on the town's behalf,
Yep.
but it's very helpful information to have. So we are going to continue the public hearing for another 2 weeks, and we will move into.
No, we don't have to come back.
You don't have to come back, no,
Okay.
no, not at all. At this point, the unfinished business is with your mortgage company.
It's only 102 miles each way.
Well, thank you so much for
All
coming.
right, so we're all set.
You're all set.
Thank you
want
very
me to
much.
send a copy of the statement, right? I'll give you guys the statement right to the town office.
You want the
It-
bank statement that they receive each month?
If you'd like to send that, sure.
I'll
Would that
send it
help?
to you.
Yeah, if you mail it up, we'll put it in the file.
Anything you need, just.
Part of the
let us know.
Okay.
investigation, really,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, now that we're familiar with each other, we know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
We do have your telephone number, correct? You have that, David?
Yes.
Okay, good. So
So,
if we have any questions, we'll follow up.
Okay,
okay.
very good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
You will need the statement because you need their account number and everything in order to make those phone calls.
Okay, thank you.
All right, safe travels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish I had a borrower's authorization.
All right, so we are going to go into our regular selectmen's meeting, and we'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair, we're gonna take a request before we
Yes,
go too much further. Can we check and make sure that the folks can hear us? Just because I want the recording to. pick
yes.
us up. So if there's anybody in the audience that can hear me, please say yes.
We see an iPad and a Pam Guy.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, we
We're
will,
the people that own that camp next door.
okay.
Hi, Ronnie.
How you doing, Ethan?
All right, we'll move into a moment of silence to show our appreciation for our men and women in uniform. Thank you. All right, call the meeting to order. We've got a full board, therefore we have a quorum. If any selectmen during the meeting feels they have a conflict of interest with any item on the agenda, please state or disclose that conflict. Joe, any adjustments to the agenda?
None, Madam Chair.
Okay. Review and approve meeting minutes for October 18th, 2021.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the regular select board meeting minutes of October 18th, 2021 with any additions or corrections.
Ethan's motion. Second. And Shelley seconds. Any suggested corrections? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. October 19th, 2021, public workshop, chapter 38 notes. These need approval, or are these just, this is just informal information?
I would recommend approving them, Madam Chair,
Okay.
since it was the full board in attendance. One note I might add is that unfortunately the audio did not cooperate that night. So that's why I'm being extra careful making sure.
Yeah. All right, need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the workshop, public workshop, chapter 38 on October 19th, 2021.
Shelley's motion and Ethna seconds. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Okay, 4 in favor, 1 abstain. Thank you. Moving into public to speak. Anyone present that would like to speak on a non-agenda item? Mark?
Mark Beauregard, Rangeley resident, speaking on my behalf, nothing to do with the press. And so I'm sure most of you are aware, some folks with ties to Rangeley were in the news this past week. And I was public record that's on the internet there. I was printed off and was looking at some of the affidavits, and looks like the federal authorities received judicial authorization to intercept voice and electronic communications. This resulted in criminal charges of defrauding Rangeley citizens of their right to honest service and the citing of violations of the Rangeley Code of Ethics and Conduct. One credible contact stated that the town of Rangeley government officials were being unduly influenced by Maine's marijuana industry. I think the Board of Selectmen need to take action that will ensure the delivery of honest service and rebuild citizen trust in town government. The Board of Selectmen should ask the feds if they have any intel to share that reveals if any other Rangeley elected or appointed officials or employees violated the Code of Ethic and Conduct or defrauded citizens of their right to honest service.
Thank you, Mark. Any, yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, ask Mark a question.
Sure.
Mark, would you make your comment available to us?
Yeah, I could do that.
Could you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any public to speak in Zoom land on a non-agenda item? Okay. Moving on to number 6, boards and committees. We've got an October 13th, 2021 planning board regular meeting minutes for our information. Consent items. So here's where we take up the dangerous buildings findings and order for 124 Cary Road.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yeah, if there's no further discussion, then there would be, yep, doesn't look like there is any, and there'd be a motion to what, declare.
Based upon our lawyer's suggestion of giving them 2 weeks to issue the proper documentation on how to deal with this building, what's the term we're using that you want us to vote on here?
That we find the building is dangerous and a nuisance, and we order the appropriate corrective action.
Madam Chair, within a certain number of days, the board will have to specify how many days you would like it corrected within. So that's a kind of a blank in the order. So if it's 60 days, you put in 60, if it's 45, 45. I would recommend probably 60.
Because of the mortgage company not having been notified.
I just think 60 is too long. I'm sorry, Mr. Roach, but we've been dealing with this for a long time. I mean, kicking it around, 60 more days is too long, in my opinion. If legal needs 2 weeks to notify them, then they have 2 more weeks after that to say to this town what their intentions are. Not 60 days. That's my feeling. Because it's gonna take time for us to put together a work crew to go do this job. It's gonna be inclement conditions then.
Yes, Bailey, thank you.
Just to note, I don't disagree with you. The 60 days also includes actually doing the work to remove anything from the property that is dangerous. So getting someone in there and that allows that time frame to get someone in there to do it as well.
Oh, so you're
Not just
talking about
intentions.
completion in 60 days.
Yes.
That's different. I
Yeah.
apologize.
And that
What are
would,
you holding up? You've been,
No, the order, the findings in order. That's this separate from the notice of hearing.
I've read through this stuff ad nauseum. What does it say, 60 days in here?
It's the blank right here where you're gonna.
Okay. I stand corrected. I don't see the 60 days.
It doesn't say it yet, we have to put it in
We
there.
have to put it
Okay.
in there.
Very good. Yep. So moved.
Second.
And so we'll take the wording from what has been printed, Joe, for the motion. So it is Steve's motion and Ethan seconds. Any further comments, questions? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. We've got an event permit application for the 35th annual Giving Tree Lighting.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't read it that way. This is what it says to me here. Extension of up to 60 days. If reasonable progress is being made towards the abatement of structural instability. Is the motion that it's got to be done in 60 days and not as an extension thereof? Because I think somebody could make an argument that says they get 60 more days after they give you a date within a short.
It does say removed, that everything, we're using this motion, this number 3 is a motion, it does say shall be removed in a safe and sanitary way
Okay,
within 60 days.
within 60 days,
Of
and
the
then
date
continue to
of
read the
the
code.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
One voice
Go
at a time. Steve, go ahead.
ahead. Continue to read on. It says, can grant an extension of 60 more days. That's the part that, that's why I wanted a shorter time frame on the front end of this thing. Just to clear up what I'm saying. You follow me? Okay, so it didn't say 60 days. We had to plug that number in. This is an extension, is what I'm concerned about on the far end of this thing. And believe me, I'm not suggesting Bailey's not gonna do a good job. That's not.
No, I get your concern, Steve. That's for sure. That there is a qualifier that there needs to be reasonable progress made. And if no one's showing up to or making a commitment to the town to remove it, that's not reasonable progress. That's, yeah, so. Yeah, go ahead,
And
Ethan.
it also says that the code officer may, in their discretion, grant an extension. Doesn't mean Bill's gonna do it. It's whatever she comes up with or what she sees as proper. And she's also gonna be knowing what our feelings are towards it, having said in this meeting and other meetings.
Okay, I'm good. I want it all out of the floor, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go back to the 34th annual Giving Tree Lighting Event Permit application.
A motion to approve the Giving Tree of Rangeley, date of the event, November 27th, 2021, from 3:30 PM to 5:30, with the attendance of 50 people. And that would be based on the Park Commission to approve at their next meeting on 11/25/21.
Shelley's motion. And Ethna seconds. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. We have a request for appointment from Kayla Alexander for the resigned seat of Jessica Botcher.
Madam Chair, I move Kayla Alexander to serve a term through 6/30/2023 to fill the seat of Jay Botcher.
Steve's motion. And Ethan seconds. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. And finishing up consent items, we've got the Loon Lake Road payment to EL Mining for $554,504.21. Joe, any comments or concerns on this one?
No concerns, Madam Chair. This is the binder course of paving.
Question.
Yes, Steve.
I did speak with Joe earlier this week about a couple of aprons that were omitted from this fall. You might have noticed them on your travels up and down the road. We're gonna be able to do that in the spring. They're notified, they know.
Yes, Madam Chair. So thank you for bringing that up. In the construction meeting last week, I attended that, and that issue did come up. The contractor is aware of it and put the aprons in at that time next spring.
Okay.
Yeah, they were all done up until the driveway of the selectmen, correct? And then the rest of it. Shelley, there's a backstory. Everett Quimby did this to me when I was on the board. I don't know if you remember this, Mark. We were all on the board and they were tarring the Ball Mountain Road. And somebody asked him, how far are you going to fix road? Oh, just up to the selectmen's driveway.
Well, it's way past my driveway, so I'm all set. And we know we're not paying for any additional driveways that people have added to their property.
Additional
Remember
driveway?
that, Mark?
Yeah, we just,
Ontario.
Yeah, there was some like that didn't have a road to it at all. I mean, I've grown up on that road. There was never a road going down on one side into a certain field.
And then there was another one that it looks like another driveway was created.
So if there, I think we discussed this last
Yes,
week,
one
if there
lot.
were field entrances that people had been using, they are being modified so they can continue to use them.
Okay.
I think there was one that was new, like totally new, the very last one on the left, or close to the last one on the left. They are responsible for the pipe, and I think we put the gravel over it on that one, like we would on any town road. That's the only new one I can think of that the town was involved.
Okay.
The other ones were existing, like field entrances or second driveways that we modified, worked with the abutters to make sure that they could still get in and out.
So did you consider it a field one even though there wasn't ever a driveway there? Or, I mean, I'm just asking. We can talk about it later.
As far as I know, any place the town was involved in it, there was an entrance existing and we just made it so they could get in and out. So, grade changes.
Right.
Significant in some
Right.
places, so
Yeah.
that's, you know.
I know they parked the camper there. And then I just noticed this time it was like there was a little driveway part that was put in there that wasn't there before.
so you're just making sure it's not on the town's dollar.
Right, make sure it's not on the town dollar, that's all. For it. Make sure anything that someone did as adjustments to add. There's another one that, I mean, yes, the hill is down low, but I mean, I've never seen a vehicle go in that.
So there will be, just to be clear, there will be some entrances, I think I described this too, that will go at the end and do. We'll take the measurements with the,
Yeah.
hopefully with the total station, if it's still set up, if not, it'll be a tape measure. But those will be calculated at the end in an as-built fashion, and they're not in any place that wasn't there before, but they may be at a different angle of approach because the grade is different. Or they may have some complicating factor that the town needed to mitigate. There are a couple of difficult ones there that we've worked with the abutters on to make sure they can get in and out without sliding into their house or whatever it is. So I just want to be, I want to
Yeah.
disclose that to you, there are some. We had conversations with almost every butter up there, so some folks had to have some adjustments so they could get in and out.
Ethan?
Joe, every driveway entrance, I don't know if it's everyone, but a lot of them have a very large paved apron. Do they all have a new paved apron?
There are a couple, as Steve mentioned, that were skipped for whatever reason, just
No,
the way it worked.
the reason I'm asking is, in past road projects, including Allen Street, aprons were only added, I know the drainage is different on Allen Street. Aprons were only added if it was needed because of the way the drainage was set up. Or like School Street and High Street, as I remember, pavement was added to a driveway that previously had pavement. There's some pretty large aprons. Was that always part of the design, or was that because that we went with ditching instead of? It just struck me because we've never added 20-foot, 12-foot, or any aprons unless there was a reason to our other road projects. I know because my driveway doesn't have one on either entrance, and most of the other ones on Elm Street don't. Just curious, seems like that's a lot of pavement.
I think I'll have to check the plan on that and get back to you.
Yeah, okay, I was curious.
You're right that they're not all exactly identical, but as far as I know, it's built to plan.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
get you an answer to it.
Great, thank you, Joe. Yeah, Shelley?
It kind of looks like just as far as where the excavator went and moving the lines over is what it seems like to me. They're trying to make up for the space, because I do have a pretty
Sure, no, I
entrance
just,
on mine. And then I think the house that's on the corner that was gonna lose the most, their tar met with their tar, and yeah, it probably is a good 2 or 3 feet.
yeah, I just didn't remember it being practice to add pavement where there wasn't pavement before.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
All right, a motion to approve the request for payment from E.L. Lining.
Make a motion to approve the Loon Lake Road payment to E&L Vining in the amount of $554,504.21.
Shelley's motion. And Ethna seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. We don't seem to have any correspondence. No old business. So we move into new business, and this is a grant application for the fire department. It's an STK Foundation grant for snowmobile equipment, and the request amount is $49,600.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
before you make a motion, it should not be 49,600, it should be 49,900. Do the math on page 2, you will find $300. 2 at 14,300 comes to 28,600. 1 at 15,300 comes to 15,300. Trailer at 6,000 adds up to 49,009. With that correction in addition, I move we allow, excuse me. Do we have to move that we accept this grant?
Madam Chair, this is for the board's information at this point that's been applied for. If we're
okay.
successful, then the board would, at that point, accept.
Somebody should notify Johnny he didn't do his math right.
so I just have a question. So were there, I mean, so typically when, equipment's purchased, there are several comparisons. So I'm just curious if there are other resources that were sought out. We've got 2 other businesses that sell snowmobiles, and just for the sake of not appearing that there's any impropriety, Johnny Wakefield is an employee of Aquatic Marine as well as a captain in the fire department. So just so other businesses see that we play fair. I mean, maybe this is just an estimate and then they'll put it out to bid.
My understanding, Madam Chair, is that this is an estimate for grant application
Okay.
purposes.
Okay. All right, great. I mean, I like the fact that our chiefs are looking for Free money, yes. We have an RFP for legal services. Two were received, one from Freddie Flaherty and the other from Jensen Baird. And there are a lot to go through in a short period of time. Joe, I thought had a really good suggestion of inviting them back to a future meeting, maybe the 15th, like we did with the other RFP respondents with the economic development and others, and just, you know, they can field questions, they can sell themselves. How does the board feel about that?
I think it's a good idea. As you said, it's a lot to go through, and I've gone through both of them from one end to the other twice, and there's a lot of information. You can reread things and not have the exact answer because everything's variable. So I think it would be good to be able to talk to people and do it the same way.
Okay. Did anyone have a different suggestion that they think would work? Shelley?
I just have one question and it's like, if we're looking at the Jensen one, what's the discount? I mean, how long do you get the discount for? When you do the pricing, it's on page 9. You want to be able to compare apples to apples, because if the price is going to change after a year, then that's a totally different outlook.
I think that aspects of sales, I'm sorry,
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I think that aspects of salesman's technique. That's the rate they're charging you. In other words, they said, this is our normal rate, this is what we're charging you.
Good question for when they come.
Yeah.
Look, you get a discount. Good point, Steve.
For the first year.
All right, so we'll have questions ready and prepared for our legal guests, and make sure you keep your RFP, your proposals with you. Don't stick them back in the bag. Moving on to E91 Road Names. So Joe, you want to take this one, or Bailey?
I can get started, Madam Chair, and then I will pass the torch to Bailey. There are, I think, 3 in total. One is, 2 of them are related to each other that we're requesting. The first one on the sheet is down on the new road, off of Gary Road. That's just a new road that may serve 5 properties. Well, this, Bailey, why don't you?
The hatchery removed the bridge that crossed the river to their facilities from Hatchery Road and built a new road off of Wilson's Mills Road. And they're requesting the name for this new road that they've constructed be Salmo Road. There's their properties there, and there's 2 residences that will also be off that road.
So that would just require a motion of the board to name that road Salmo Road, because it's not named now, correct?
Correct.
The next one is a little more involved. And I'm more familiar with this one. I've spoken with folks that live down in the Dorset Road area. And I've been down there years ago and walked it. It's an interesting thing, interesting place, because you get in the middle of it and it's really just a path, as I recall. You could probably drive a Jeep through it, but it's named Dorset Road. Yeah, I guess now you can't. 5 years ago, probably. But it's named Dorset Road the whole way through. So if you get an emergency call down in there and you're looking for 160 or something, it's on one end, but you end up on the other end and waste time, basically.
I've heard it happen.
Yeah, it has happened. And Bailey and I have talked with both of our chiefs. We talked to residents down there. Bailey and I have talked about it quite a lot here about how do we fix this. So the proposal is to, instead of having it named Dorset Road the whole way through, including the goat path in the middle, name it East Dorset Road on one side, West Dorset Road on the other side. If we were to do that, if the board were to vote to do that, Bailey would then have to reconfigure a good amount of the house numbers And as you might imagine, there's a little bit of an impact there to the people that live in that area, which is why we're proposing that it would be taking effect first of the year. We're required to give 30 days, but we're proposing 60, just so that there's the time to reach out to them and let them know what you've moved to do. So this one is really kind of a public safety issue. I think this is a good way to tackle it. Anything to add to that?
Ethan?
In the technological age that we live in, when cities and towns do this stuff, add roads, how do the Apple Maps and Google Maps people and other navigation people get a hold of this? How does that?
I believe the state program that I use a GIS map and I put it on the actual GIS map, which is the exact map that dispatchers use for emergency services. After that, I believe that state map is then updated with Google Maps. I don't know what,
Just
on what
curious.
basis, but I believe that's where they get the information from.
Any other questions?
I do.
Yes.
This is a private road, correct?
Yeah, I believe it is.
So initially, I'm opposed to the same name, east versus west. Because in the E911 scenario, they're gonna have to figure out how to access it. East, which road do they come down? To me, that should be two separate names. So that people know if you're coming down this road, you can get onto Dorset here, and this one over here is called Sally Road. I don't care what the name is. But it's not a confusing thing where somebody has to go then back around to the other side, because Dorset now is no longer all the way through. I don't know if this is clouding up the situation, or my goal is to make it clearer for responders in an emergency scenario, particularly ambulance and fire. Please.
Ethan?
I initially thought the same thing, and then I sat and thought to myself about different times I've wandered around different cities in Washington DC and such, and it's commonplace to do that where there is a separation or there happens to be a building between the two parts of the road. So I can see both sides of it. If EMS is used to Lewiston or any other place that might have something like that, they might be all right, but I can see Steve's point as well.
Bailey?
I completely agree with you on the emergency services side. My thought process with saying East Dorset Road, West Dorset Road was for the people who forget to change one account, it's still Dorset Road, so they're not gonna completely lose service or something like that
Yep.
by having a completely different road name.
Well, just my thoughts.
All right, so any other comments or questions from the board? We first need a motion to approve the name Salmo Road for the new road off Wilson's Mills Road.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the name Salmo Road for the new road that connects Route 16 and the fish hatchery, among other things.
Ethan's motion
Second.
and Steve seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's unanimous. Do you want separate motions for the renaming of Dorset Road or?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so we first need a motion for East Dorset Road.
Make a motion to name East Dorset Road, change the name from Dorset Road to East Dorset Road.
Shelley's motion
Second.
and Steve seconds. So this pertains to the easterly portion of Dorset Road.
Is that the one that hooks on to Proctor? Because I'm not so.
Yes.
Any other comments? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Next, West Dorset Road.
Make a motion to change Dorset Road on the other side to West Dorset Road.
Yes,
Second.
Madam Chair, I think this is the first motion, if you could consider making that effective January 1, 2020.
all of the previous motions.
Number 2 and 3, the other one can be right away, right about 30 days, I feel, yeah.
Okay. All right, so,
Both of them, January 1st would be good to give me, I haven't figured out numbers for the new road yet.
okay, so Shelley, are you okay with amending your
I'm
motion?
okay with amending my motion to be effective January 1st, 2022.
All right, Steve, you okay with seconding that
Yes.
motion? Okay. All right, West Dorset Road, we've got a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? And that's unanimous.
Officer will still be able to apply though.
Thank you, Bailey. Town manager report, we've got department head updates. Joe, anything you'd like to point out, or?
I want to thank Bailey very much for working on that E911 project. And that's just the tip of it. She's got a whole master list she's working on. Appreciate her work on that. Appreciate Keith's work on the Loon Lake Road and the other projects too. We have a Loon Lake Road progress meeting with DOT. We've kind of had a little slowdown there with certain things held up, but we're trying to get that wrapped up as soon as we can. Missed anything, Tracy? Okay. That's it. That's what I have now, too.
Okay. Did you want to discuss the stay that was granted?
Oh, yes, I'd be happy to do that. So, a while back, probably a month and a half ago or so, there was a request for our council, they came from Kristen Collins, asking if the town consented to a stay to allow the application for a solar farm permit in town to basically not expire while it was being appealed in court. We, meaning the administration of the town, looked at our code, and our feeling was that our code does not allow for anything beyond a one-time 6-month extension for an unexpired permit. We responded in that way, and that was written in the brief report document. Recently recently got word that the stay was granted by the judge, which they have the authority to do. I just wanted to point that out, that the town code does not allow for anything other than a one-time 6-month extension for an unexpired permit. So there is a stay while that's being appealed. The judge has ordered it. Once that appeal is resolved, then the 6-month extension that was granted by code enforcement begins.
Okay. We've got a busy code enforcement officer report. Thank you very much, Bailey, for putting this together. Probably not going to be slowing down anytime soon. Yeah. All right, moving on. So just a review of the calendar. Tomorrow's voting day. And, hopefully the Franklin County Commissioner question passes so that we increase from 3 to 5. Looks like Senator Black, has been making the rounds along with Representative Landry. November 15th on our agenda will be a TIF policy review. November 17th at 6 p.m. we've got a quarterly meeting follow-up at the Dallas Plantation Town Office with the other plantation officials. And November 22nd, we've got our second chapter, our 38 public workshop. Next in our packet, Joe has got a single audit airport runway extension clarification. So Joe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last time I brought the report from the main DOT to you, there was a $25,000 number that I wasn't sure what it was. I need to look into it. So I provided that response from them in your package. So essentially, what that was is the Overlook Sidewalk project that has federal money in it. And it was not reported to the MDOT or in the audit, and therefore not picked up by the MDOT. So we're working with our auditor to determine whether that requires a revision. The audit. So that's what I have for an update now. I'll bring back more information. So it was not airport related after all, it was the Overlook Sidewalk because that is federal funds. It's a portion of what the state pays.
So is this just something that the auditor missed or that the town didn't, you know, I mean,
I don't believe it was our auditor. I think we didn't think of this being something that had federal funds in it.
right.
Um,
I don't think we ever discussed that it had federal funds. It was always the 25-75 split.
So that's what happened, and it's out in the open now, and our auditor will advise us if we need to amend or revise the audit, or have it addendum to it, so that this is documented. So I will respond. We'll bring that back to you in a future meeting.
So does the reimbursement, so the federal money, did that, I mean, so did we get a check for the, from the federal government for their share, or, because don't we usually front the money and then get reimbursed?
Right. Yes, we pay for it, then we get a
Okay.
reimbursement. But the reimbursing party or the reimbursing authority is the DOT. So we don't get money directly from federal government.
Okay.
It comes through the DOT.
Okay,
Which
that's,
why something like this would kind of go unnoticed.
yep, that's, thank you. That was what I was trying to ask or figure out anyway. If are there any other questions on this runway extension clarification, actually the sidewalk, federal funds? A select board communication. Ethna, have you got anything? Okay, Joan?
I heard that the trunk or treat was a huge success.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't hear you.
The trunk or treat? Trunk or treat?
Yeah, town was just a buzzing yesterday. It was really nice. Ethan, anything?
Not this week.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I'd thank the fire department for a fabulous Halloween get-together display, recognition of the children, all the adults that dressed up, pretty interesting and fun to watch. Please tell the chief. I will. That's it. Thank you.
We have nothing either, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And second. Steve's motion and Ethan seconds.
I thought you were second.
No, I was.
Second.
All those in favor? And that's unanimous, and thank you all.